last section is on sports. And I wanted to start off, even though our big topic is going to be about the NFL being back, I did want to start off doing a follow-up to one of the topics we talked about in episode 2, which is about Lionel Messi. Now, when we were filming episode 2, the big news of that day was that Messi had decided that he wanted to leave Barcelona after being there since the age of 14. Since then, a lot has changed. Messi will not be leaving Barcelona. And the big reason being that Barcelona apparently told him that at the end of the season, so they told him at the beginning of the previous season that at the end of that current campaign, he would be able to choose whether he wants to stay or leave. Now, as everyone knows, coronavirus happened. So that pushed the end of the season to August. Barcelona told him that we told you that you'd have till before June 1st.
Oh, hell no.
Exactly. So since coronavirus pushed the end of the season 2 months, he basically missed his deadline to make his self-determination that he wanted to leave. So he was really pissed. And they told him, well, you can leave. You just have to pay your contract buyout of something ridiculous, like 700 million euros. It's a ridiculous number. Something that they know that he definitely can't pay. So he said that he's going to stay. He hates what the president of Barcelona has made him do, but he still loves the club, and he's going to give his all to the club and all that stuff. It's kind of sad, but
this kind of makes me a little bit of reminisce. Remember we talked about the comparisons between him and Tom Brady? Kind of reminds me a little bit of the power struggle that Tom Brady and Bill Belichick and Robert Kraft all had at the very end of the tenure. It was mostly Robert Kraft versus
Brady.
He loves Brady. He's heartbroken that he left. Him and Belichick. And I'm pretty sure this is nothing. It's nothing similar. But the reason being is, I think it was kind of the sense where Belichick knows he's the reason for their success, whereas Robert Kraft thinks he's the reason for their success. You know what I mean? He thinks that, oh, we're a dynasty because I chose you, and Bill Belichick's like, no, anywhere I would have gone, I would have created a dynasty. Kind of like one of those things. So I got a question for you. Is it something similar going on where basically the president of Barcelona is like, I own you because you owe me? Or is it just he just did a shuffling of the contract, or basically he found a loophole to F over Messi?
I think it's a bit of both, but yeah, I didn't really thought about it that way, but I think it actually could lean more towards the former, which is basically I own you because you own me. I mean, Messi's entire career is Barcelona.
So he's like, I created you.
Yeah. I mean, Messi wouldn't be where he is without his obvious skill that he has, but Barcelona gave him that platform to be the greatest, one of the greats, if not the greatest player currently playing. So, yeah, I guess in a sense it could be that.
Well, one of my friends says that the biggest reason that Messi is upset is because they're not replacing his go-to guys. They haven't replaced his go-to guys. Is that correct?
Right. So, I mean, over the years, Messi has played with some legends of the game, right? Hell, if you play FIFA and you play FIFA Ultimate Team, you always get these cards of past players, legendary players, and a lot of them are players that have played in Barcelona. You've got Xavi, Puyol, Iniesta, Ronaldinho. All of these people have played. Ibrahimovic actually is still playing, but all of these people are people that have played with Messi, right? And these were the years when Barcelona was like a dynasty. But over time, Messi has been the constant, but they haven't really been, adding to his, to his team. So it's like you're trying to keep a dynasty with only one major piece in place. It's like it's like expecting the Cleveland Cavaliers to win, when you don't put the pieces around LeBron. LeBron might still drive the Golden State Warriors to 6 games, but he's not going to beat the Golden State Warriors without actual pieces in play around him. So, yeah, that's what Messi is feeling like. Like, I'm alone here. Which actually adds to some of the criticism that people have against him. Is like he's always complaining that he's doing it by himself and yada yada.
Don't they point to that one year that Kobe Bryant won it with a bunch of nobodies?
Yeah.
After Shaq left, where they were like, a lot of people was like, oh, he can't do it without Shaq, and then he won 2 more, and then one of those years is like with literally nobody's, like people who probably won't ever even touch the Hall of Fame or anything like that.
Yeah, and it can be done, right? But I kind of get where he's coming from because we know.
No, you explained to me perfectly that soccer is a team sport. It really is.
It's more of a team sport than the NBA for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah. So yeah, it's a sad state of affairs, but it is what it is. We'll see what Barcelona does if they add people around them that.
But I guess I have a question in regards to any kind of sports. Does that create an automatic recipe for disaster? You know, does that create a situation where there's not going to be room for success because you have a war going on, right? You basically have a war going on between the owner and Messi. And then, yeah, the owner has a lot more, right? Or the president, I'm sorry, has a lot more power because he's the president and he basically says, hey, you can't opt out. But then Messi's going to be like, all right, then I can play like crap too.
Oh, well.
Which he won't.
Well, exactly. That's the thing. Will he? Is he that type of person? And I just don't get that from him.
If he's unhappy because he's not getting enough pieces around him to be as competitive as he thinks he should be, I don't see him slacking. I really don't. I don't see him all of a sudden. It's kind of like, remember, LeBron James was, I think last year he didn't have a team. He didn't have a good team, but he still played the way he would if he had a good team around him.
Yeah.
It was just most likely you weren't going to get to the playoffs, which of course they didn't. And then look what happens this year, though.
Now they're like one of the best teams.
Corona happened, but you get enough players now that you were competitive from the get-go.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly.
And I think Kawhi Leonard hurt him when he didn't go over there.
Well, I'm glad he didn't. I mean, I hate all these super teams. Yeah.
Super teams are white. I'm sorry. Durant, you got an asterisk next to your championship for us.
You know, no.
We don't like super teams, but we're cool with Durant. Okay.
No. I don't like super teams, but Durant gave 9 years to the Oklahoma City Thunder, and he did his damnedest to get them to somewhere. They got to the NBA Finals once, I think, or was it twice? No, once, and they didn't win. But I mean, he played his ass off, and yes, I don't like super teams, but I can almost give him a pass. I can always be like, you know what, whatever, man.
Are you kind of saying like he's like Ravis, who did amazing with all these other teams, but then he went to the Patriots just to win a Super Bowl?
Right. Like, hey, you've paid your penance, you know, so.
But honestly, I'm not going to lie real quickly, because we're about to go into football, like, you know, the America's football. The thing with the Oklahoma City Thunder, from all those years, they reminded me so much of the Falcons with how you had all this momentum, but you just never got it. You just never got there. And then one conversation that I would like to have, which, you know what, we're going to go ahead and lead into this whole football thing. So the conversation I want to have with Zino is, in regards to the Falcons, is he playing with a better team than he did in 2012, or is 2012 still his best team that he ever had? On offense. On offense. Not the whole overall, because defense.
Talking about Matt Ryan?
Matt Bryant, yeah. What did I say?
No, you just said is he, so I didn't know who.
Oh, him. Yeah. Come on. Is Matt Ryan playing with the best team that he's since 2012, or is this team not as good as 2012, or was 2016 his best team? But before we go into that, just a quick introduction into regards to football. Football finally started yesterday, September 10th. Kansas City Chiefs versus the Houston Texans. Kansas City Chiefs picked up where they left off. The Houston Texans proved that you can have all the right pieces, but if you can't put it together, you're just gonna always be in a struggle.
Well, you can have all the right pieces, but if you're facing Kansas City, so,
I don't know. Houston Texans is one of those teams that I don't have a second team. Falcons is my team. I don't have a second team, but Houston Texans have one of those teams that I've always rooted for, especially when they had who did they have? They had J.J. Watt, Davian Clowney, Cushing. Was it Cushing?
Cushing, yeah.
He was on. They just had like an amazing defense, and I always tell people that if it wasn't for Brock Osweiler?
Yeah,
played with them in 2000. If it wasn't for them, if it wasn't for Brock Osweiler, if they had had a competent quarterback, it would have been us versus them in the Super Bowl in 2016. 2016, they could have made it to the Super Bowl, but they didn't have a quarterback, which proves what you said about, like, in podcast number 2, one quarterback can make the world of a difference.
Right.
He can carry a team, or he can completely decimate a team, which is what Brock Osweiler did when he was with the Houston Texans. But yeah. So first, before we go into this, to my conversation about you with the Falcons, because again, we are Atlanta oriented. Atlanta Falcons is probably going to be a heavy topic that we speak on, just because we're both fans of them. They both hurt us tremendously.
So deep.
It hurts so bad. But we are a little bit Atlanta focused when it comes to football. But we are going to talk about first what you think about what they did with the limited capacity. First, want to keep it fun first, and then we could talk about an additional topic.
So, like in watching the game, I honestly did not notice any difference from like normal NFL games. Now, that being said, I wasn't paying like extreme attention for like whether it's that loud or whatever. But honestly, like I thought it was okay. I thought it worked, from a presentation perspective. If they did show like what they were doing with the crowds and like how they were distancing and all that, I missed it. But just from from when you like compare it to like the MLS, for instance, where you can hear that there's no crowd, and you can hear the players speaking to each other and all that stuff.
Or you can hear in MLB the artificial noise that they're putting, and you can tell how artificial it is.
Right, exactly. I didn't quite get that from this. I felt like a normal game, not even like a low attendance normal game. It just felt like a normal game.
Yeah, well, the thing with the game is that Collinsworth, is it Collinsworth?
Chris Collinsworth.
And the other guy.
Michaels.
Yeah, him. John Michaels is the one that we like.
Al Michaels.
Al Michaels is the one that everyone likes. Collinsworth, here's a guy, right?
Is it not Al Michaels anymore?
Is it not Al Michaels? I don't know.
I mean, unless I completely missed it. Is it Mike Tirico now?
No, it's Al Michaels. It is Al Michaels.
Okay.
It was because remember that it's a Sunday night football game, despite the fact that it's played on Thursday.
Yeah. So yeah, Chris Collinsworth and Al Michaels.
Yeah, and Chris Collinsworth, the ones that here's a guy, that does that, and a lot of people don't. I'm not a huge fan of his commentating, but I don't hate it the way a lot of other people hate it. We could talk about commentators.
I've been indifferent to his Chris Collinsworth. I don't really care about him one way or the other.
Honestly, if it's Al Michaels and somebody else, honestly, to me, the dream team would be Al Michaels and Tony Romo. That would be an amazing commentating team.
Tony Romo is pretty great.
Tony Romo is pretty.
I never thought I'd be saying this ever when he was a player, but yeah, Tony Romo is pretty good.
Well, isn't it funny because Collinsworth he's a wide receiver, right? Mm-hmm. He was a wide receiver back in the day.
Yeah.
I don't know him as a wide receiver at all. We know Tony Romo as a quarterback, but my kids are never going to know him as a quarterback.
Right.
If he's commentating the same amount of times as Al Michaels is commentating, they're only going to know him as a commentator, which is kind of crazy if you think about it.
Yeah. So, they're going to know him as one of the great commentators.
He really is. I tell people he's going to be a GOAT when it comes to commentating. Like, he's going to be more successful as a commentator than he ever was as a quarterback.
Oof, I don't know about that.
No, I think so.
That's right. He didn't win any Super Bowls.
He didn't win any Super Bowls. Yeah. And he doesn't have Jerry Jones to hold him back anymore. So My brother's a Cowboys fan, by the way. He hates whenever I knock on the Cowboys. But anyways, yeah. So they made sure to point out that that was the live crowd. That was the live crowd making the noise. It wasn't artificial. It was the live crowd. And I think the difference was that it didn't get as loud as it does like whenever it's like third down. You know how you can hear it really get loud when it's third down on the defense is playing third down.
Yeah.
I could hear the difference between say that versus basically the whole entire game sounded like the way the crowd normally sounds during like non-exciting parts of the game.
Yeah.
You get what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Regular standard,
there were no peaks. It was all
exactly. There wasn't like it doesn't get like high or anything like that, which I wonder how that's gonna look when so the Seahawks are gonna play us here in Atlanta first, then they're gonna play their second game I think I wonder how the 12th man, which don't ever mention the 12th man to Deion Sanders. Because he's like, I don't give a damn about no 12th man.
Yeah, but hold on. Is this first game in CenturyLink or is it here in Atlanta?
No, first game is here in Mercedes. Is it?
Dude, the 12th man doesn't make a difference.
No, I'm saying that when they play, I wonder how the 12th man's going to be.
In Atlanta, right? You saying how it's going to be in Atlanta or how it's
No, I'm saying because thinking about the stadium the way it is, right?
Got it.
I don't think the Seahawks are playing.
I get what you mean now.
Because, are they playing with a limit? Do you know if they're playing with a limited capacity?
I don't know. I would assume so because Washington was a pretty big hotspot at one point. I get what you're saying now. Like when the Seahawks are playing a home game, will that 12th man be a factor? Because that's always been like the thing, right? That CenturyLink is always so loud and such.
Well, no, for at least their first 3 home games.
Yeah.
That's what it says there. The first 3 home games are going to be played without fans. And even though I'm going to tell you the truth, it's funny. We've had more success since Dan Quinn came here. They've had the same amount of success because they're split. And they've won 1 here. I know that we beat them here in the division game. They won against us last year here. I know that there's been at least 1 game that the Falcons have won in CenturyLink, so the 12th man ain't. I
don't think it matters.
I don't think so.
Yeah, that's my answer. Well, I thought at first I thought you were saying, will the lack of home fans matter for the Falcons? To which I was going to say no, because we barely have any fans anyway. So, no, it doesn't matter.
You know what's funny? In 2017 or 2018, when they played in Washington, that was Washington D.C. That was like the loudest away fans for the Falcons that I had ever heard. I don't know if you remember that. Like watching that game. That's like I was like, why can't the Georgia Dome is only really loud like that when they're winning, like when they have a winning season. But I mean, I remember last year I asked somebody to give me I was like, who wants to bless me with a ticket to the next Falcons game? And then one of my friends was like, hey, I have one. What's it called? My mom gets them for free. And nobody else wants to go. So,
Dang.
So it won't matter with us. Honestly, it probably, if anything, it benefits us.
I think
because then you won't have the away team fans.
You won't have the away team, and you won't have those fans booing and getting in your head like, oh, our fans hate us.
Yeah.
No, I can't complete a play.
Yeah. So real quickly before we go into booing, because there's something happened yesterday with booing. I asked you a question. The 2012. Do you think this is the best offense that Matt Ryan has had in his tenure since he's been here?
Well, this is a complete guess because there's been no preseason.
It's true.
Potentially, I think, huh?
On paper, does it look like?
Yeah. I think potentially, yes. Because when you look at the offense on paper, right, what Todd Gurley could be, I think Calvin Ridley is amazing. I really do. I drafted him in fantasy football in both leagues. So I think Calvin Ridley is amazing. Julio is Julio. He's going to be is going to be great no matter what. Um, and I actually think the O line feels
Better.
feels better. They feel like reliable. That's the word I was looking for. Um, yeah, man. I think this could be our best offense. I think this offense is going to be better than 2012 just by virtue of the fact that we have our running back. You know, like Michael Turner. That wasn't Michael Turner. What's
That
Michael
was
Turner?
Michael Turner, bro. 2012, we had Michael Turner.
No, no. We had someone from the Rams. It was someone else from the Rams.
Oh no, you're thinking of 2013 and 2014 when we had Steven Jackson's
Yeah, Steven Jackson. That was
self. That was the year after. In
was it?
2012, so in 2012, the running backs were Jacquizz Rodgers and
And Michael
Michael
Turner?
Turner. Yeah.
Oh,
Because
okay.
remember, Jacquizz Rodgers ran over one of the Seahawks players. Like, there was a one
Okay.
part where he just ran over him, and I was like, wait, I didn't even see him. He's like, my wife was like, oh, he little.
Okay,
He
okay.
slid under them.
In that case, I'd still say this year, but okay. I was given this year an edge definitely because of running back, but I guess I had my running back years messed up.
And not only that, but
Messed
you're a
up.
homer,
What was that?
and you're a homer.
Yes.
He's a
Yeah.
good. He's a UGA Bulldog.
Yeah. Go Dogs. Now between this year and 2016, no, I think the 2016 team is the best team I've seen since I've been following the Atlanta Falcons.
But does that have to do with the offensive coordinator more than anything?
Uh, I mean, yeah, Shanahan was good, but
You think he's given too much credit?
yeah, actually, no, I think you're right. I think that's what it is because we had largely the same team the following year, and Sarkisian completely screwed it up. So
Hold on. I'm sorry. Go back. I don't think he completely screwed it up.
he completely screwed it up.
Sarkisian. No, the problem with Sarkisian is you told somebody, come here and cook this food for me, but use the same exact ingredients, not the ingredients you like. Use the same exact ingredients that were used last year by a previous chef.
Yeah,
You got
the
a
same
chef,
the
that's
same
what they did.
exact ingredients that brought down the house last time. Everyone loved the
But
party.
that's not his ingredient for bringing down the house. They honestly, if you saw at the end of his last year here, that's when I started seeing him. I was like, I personally don't think that we should have fired him. I really don't.
I personally don't think we should have lost to the freaking Eagles in that game. His last game. That was but that was Sarkisian to a T. Now then again, there was the on defense where the guy needs the ball. Remember, I can't. Was it a kick?
Oh, Keanu Neal
Yeah, Keanu Neal
jumps up and he basically does a backwards pass to the offense.
Yeah. Oh God.
So he had kept his. Honestly, I do think that play would have cost us. Would have got us the win.
It would have won us the game.
But I honestly feel like it's my fault because me and my wife were actually at Chateau Alon. So Chateau Alon is like a winery here in Georgia. Look it up. It's a great winery. Yeah. We were at Chateau Alon. I had to leave to go to dinner with her. I asked her, why the hell did you put dinner at this time? She's like, well, we're going to dinner. We all got reservations, so you're going to have to miss the rest of the game. So I missed the end of the game, so that was my fault, people. Yeah. I apologize, America. I apologize specifically to you, Atlanta. I apologize. Ever since then, I told her, I was like, we are not going anywhere until the game is over. And we've never been to the playoffs since. So it doesn't matter. It's irrelevant. My rule is irrelevant. But anyways, so my response to that is actually, I would say the only thing that the 2012 offense has is the big three difference. Tony. That's the big difference to me. That kind of makes me still lean to 2012, which is Roddy White, Julio Jones, and Tony Gonzalez. Like how you didn't win a Super Bowl with a guy who was clearly on his way to becoming one of the greatest wide receivers. You already had the established Atlanta's greatest receiver because Roddy White at that time was already Atlanta's greatest receiver ever. And then you had Tony Gonzalez, who was off the bat. Everybody had already known by that time. He's
First ballot Hall of Famer.
First ballot Hall of Famer. great, considered already at that time the greatest tight end of all time.
And you could say that, yeah, he was at advanced age, but he didn't play like it that year.
No, he didn't. He
He was
came back
good.
for one more year, remember? And he was still playing good. He just gave up because he was like, "There's no point in me putting my body through this crap if I'm not gonna win anything, right?"
Yeah, he was.
But yeah, I would say that's the only edge between 2016 and 2000. I mean, I'm sorry, this year and 2012, and then the one with 2016. You said it. It's that O line. If I can only imagine, I'm hoping what this is this is basically the receiving core of 2012 with hopefully somewhat of a resemblance of the O-line of 2016. Because as long as you have Alex Mack in there, you're good on center. He's one of the greatest centers ever, right? And then you got a guy named Hennessy who just got drafted. First of all, his last name is dope, Hennessy. Who don't like Hennessy? And then secondly, he's already being built in to be a replacement he was drafted to be Alex Mack's replacement. And then actually something that they did, which I actually thought was actually interesting, is I believe his name is Joe Carpenter. Is it Joe Carpenter?
I'm not sure.
I know it's Carpenter. His last name, or James Carpenter. I always get names wrong. So anyways, so they're going to James Carpenter. I'm sorry. So what they're going to do is instead of having a rookie be the left guard, what they're doing is they're going to actually rotate them too. So James Carpenter is a veteran. Hennessy's a rookie. So I feel like what they're doing is they're going to do a rotation to basically keep Hennessy fresh and not be overwhelmed. Because I think one of the things that you noticed with the Texans on the game from Thursday was the Texans were sloppy. And I think it had a lot to do with no preseason for them. Kansas City wasn't, because it was pretty much the same exact freaking team from the previous year to this year. So it's kind of like, I feel like that's going to be like the biggest difference maker for the O-line. If they can manage to still to be able to make them come in and like basically that rotation keeps both of them fresh, but it also doesn't get Hennessy overwhelmed. It's a recipe for them to have an amazing offensive line. So if they have a great O-line and the receiving core that they have, I don't see why this can't be the best team that Matt Ryan ever puts at the helm. Honestly, I don't see why, if they don't do right, why Matt Ryan can't be in the conversation for MVP again. Conversation, not actually win it. I don't know if he'll win it. I actually think I have a sneaky feeling that this is going to be Russell Wilson's year.
Really? Well, that's good because I drafted him. But oh no, did I actually draft him in my main league? Because we are playing against the Seahawks, so I don't want that to be the case.
See, This is why I don't do fantasy football, people.
Yeah, I'm in fantasy football. Anyway, that's that. If we win, yay. Yeah, it doesn't matter if I lose in fantasy. I guess this is as good a place to transition to
the booze.
To the booze.